Ladies, young ladies, and gentlemen, greetings to you from your respective locations, wherever you may be in the world. This is the top story in international news. All eyes are on these upcoming negotiations as President Vladimir Putin, advised and strongly encouraged by his peers during the recent meeting that took place at this very crucial moment for Russia, which marked the 80th anniversary of Russia's victory over Nazi Germany. On May 15th, Russia initiated direct negotiations to achieve lasting peace in Ukraine. And Russia has stated that for these negotiations, that there are no preconditions. But that is what Russia has said. And Russia has left the ball in Ukraine's court. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine is not ready. Europe, which is pushing Ukraine is not ready. In any case, this is the situation. This is the observation we are making. Today, since it was said, let's go to negotiations without preconditions. Because if Russia sets conditions and Ukraine sets conditions, it will hinder the negotiations. It will grow back again. And with one postponement after another, we risk never actually sitting down at the negotiating table, and peace just keeps getting further away. But Ukraine has responded to Vladimir Putin's request. Well, in a way, Ukraine is being somewhat realistic. At least for now, that's what we see. Ukraine is being somewhat realistic. Yes, and we'll see. But that's a condition that has been set. We'll see if Russia, on its side, will accept. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are going to discuss in this video conference, which I humbly ask you to share as widely as possible. Share it as much as you can in all possible groups. We are at a decisive turning point in the history of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So here is Ukraine's response, given by Volodymyr Zelensky. He gave this response on Twitter, on X. He said the following: Ukraine is willing to start direct negotiations with Russia only if Moscow accepts the ceasefire proposed by Kiev and several European Union countries starting from May 12th. This is Ukraine's proposal. You know, very recently, the European Union, the French President Emmanuel Macron, and Keir Starmer, the British leader, in any case, France, the British, and some European countries, met in Kiev on the 9th of May, no, the 10th of May, 2025, yesterday. They met in Kiev with the goal of proposing something. So they instead proposed a complete ceasefire for 30 days. And they even asked for help from the United States of America so that America could agree to put pressure on Russia so that Russia would accept the full 30-day ceasefire. So this proposal was made. Russia has not yet responded as such, or at least Russia's response to this is what it has just done. The fact that Russia is inviting direct negotiations without preconditions. So instead of seeking a temporary peace, we need to move toward a lasting peace. Russia is proposing direct negotiations on May 15th. So what is stopping Ukraine from going to Istanbul on May 15th to go negotiate? But they say first, Russia must agree to the ceasefire. In short, a complete ceasefire, starting from May 12th. So if, starting tomorrow, Russia initiates and orders a ceasefire, then on May 15th, they will be in Istanbul. This is the condition that has been set. But this time, they said that they obviously want the meeting to be direct, that the negotiations be direct. Share this video conference with me. Share the video conference. Share the video conference. So, Russia wants direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. No intermediaries. But again, to show how many times Europe doesn't want this, especially the dinosaurs surrounding Zelensky. I'm talking about France, London, Paris, and how from there you can see from the United Kingdom so much so that they don't want it, the European Union is now setting another condition. They are insisting they want the EU at all costs to be present themselves during the negotiations, because they consider Zelensky to be a baby, a child who can't, who perhaps almost doesn't have any discernment. So they have to be there by Ukraine's side to guide Ukraine. So what is the European Union saying? Share the video conference, please. The European Union says, the European countries say that they want to be present during the negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, which could take place in Istanbul on May 15th, 2025, but only if a ceasefire is reached. So they first want a ceasefire to be agreed upon, which will start on the 12th, meaning that their conditions must be accepted first. You see, there's a problem with this situation. They don't want it to be said that it was Russia who initiated peace. They would prefer people to say no. That everything started with the ceasefire agreement proposed by the Europeans, so that in history it will be said, yes, it was the Europeans who around Zelensky, proposed a complete 30-day ceasefire. Something even Donald Trump couldn't achieve. It was the Europeans who managed to do it. So this is a condition that they are now setting. Yes, and it could make things difficult. In what capacity are they going to participate? Europeans, yes, but concretely, what does their presence bring? And above all, they say they want to participate. They haven't even been given the opportunity to participate yet, but they say they will participate on the condition that an agreement for a ceasefire is reached. If this agreement is not reached, then they cannot be present. And it's not just them who wouldn't be present. It's another form of pressure. If this agreement is not reached, even Zelensky will not be present. That's why Zelensky said this. He said, we are waiting for Russia to confirm a complete but lasting and reliable ceasefire starting tomorrow, May 12th. And Ukraine is ready to meet with the Russian side. So you see, this statement regarding the presence of the Europeans was made by the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jean-Noël Barrot. Here is Jean-Noël Barrot, who made this statement on France Inter. So, yes, for negotiation, for peace, but a ceasefire first. That's their slogan. That's the slogan he gave. He also specified that European countries have been working for several weeks on the 17th round of sanctions, and that his ministry had contributed significantly to the development of half of the restrictions included in it. According to him, the new package is almost finalized. So, always the threat against Russia. So here is the main point of this information. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news for you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.